So the macrame mirror pattern that I'm teaching you today is a beginner-friendly, very quick and easy pattern that you can create without much experience in macrame. But I also have a more advanced mandala pattern, which you can see hanging up here. And I've created a downloadable PDF guide to create this pattern as well. So if you're interested in creating a more advanced version of this mirror, then check out that pattern. I'll leave the link in the description below. Alright, so I will get this out of the way so we can start our beginner-friendly macrame mandala mirror. And there will be a few things that you'll need for this project. So the first thing that you're going to need is a mirror, and I'm using this mirror here. The mirror on the inside here, the diameter of that is 18 centimeters. And then the wood ply part at the back, the diameter of this one is 25 centimeters. So you just want to make sure that your measurements for the mirror piece are similar to the one that I have here. You'll also need a ring to put all of the strings onto, and you want the diameter of this ring to be slightly smaller than the diameter of the mirror. So the diameter of the ring that I'm using today is 175 millimeters. So that's just 5 millimeters smaller than the diameter of the mirror. The other thing that you're going to need is some scissors and a tape measure, and then you'll need some string, of course. Now I would recommend a 3 to 5 millimeter single strand twisted cotton cord for this project. What you're going to need is 40 strings cut to 1 meter in length each, and I already have my orange strings all cut to length, ready to go. Alright, so to start, you just want to grab your metal ring and hang it up somewhere that's easy to work on. And then just grabbing one of your 1 meter cords, you want to fold that cord in half so you've got the loop in the center like so. And then we're going to attach this loop using a Larks head knot around the ring. And you're just going to repeat that with each string until you have all strings attached to your ring. So again, I'm just going to fold the next cord in half and then attaching that center point to the ring using a Larks head knot. Okay, so now I've attached all of my strings around the ring, and I've just put my piece down on a flat surface because it actually is a bit easier to create this pattern when you've got it lying down on a table or something similar. And so now I'm just going to find any 4 cords that are sitting next to each other, such as these 4 here. And I'm just going to use these 4 to create a square knot. Now, if you don't know how to create a square knot, I do have a tutorial available, so I will leave the link to that video in the description below. And there is my square knot finished there. So I'm just going to move along to the next 4 cords. And I am going to just create a square knot with these 4 cords. And I'm just going to continue my way around the whole ring, creating a square knot with each group of 4 cords. So here is my finished circle of square knots. And so the next step now is to find 2 square knots sitting next to each other. And then I'm just going to grab 2 cords from one square knot and 2 cords from the adjacent square knot. And I'm going to bring those 4 center cords together and create a square knot using those 4 cords. So this is what we call an alternating square knot. I'm going to make this square knot so it sits nice and tight underneath those 2 above it. So you can see my square knot there. I'm just going to repeat this with the next 4 cords in the group. So there I have another square knot sitting underneath the 2 above it nice and neatly. I'm just going to repeat this around the full circle with every 4 cords. So now that we've finished that second circle of square knots, the next step is we're just going to create some triangles that go around the outside of the circle. So to do that, I'm going to start by grabbing 4 cords that are sitting together. You want 2 coming from one square knot and 2 coming from the adjacent square knot. So we're creating another alternating square knot here. And then I'm going to move across to the next 4 cords in the group and again create a square knot with these 4 cords. And now I'm going to create one more square knot in between these 2 that I've just created using these 4 cords in the center here. So you should be able to see there's a bit of a triangle shape happening here now. So now I'm going to grab the next cord over from this triangle pattern that I've created. So it's coming from this square knot here. I'm going to grab this cord and hold it over the top of all these other cords in a diagonal line like so. I'm going to use this cord and create some double half hitch knots with all these other cords around this cord to create a diagonal line of double half hitch knots. So starting with the next cord in the group, just creating a double half hitch. And then grabbing the next cord in the group and using that one to create a double half hitch. And then grabbing the next cord and creating a double half hitch knot. And so on with all the cords until you get to the center of this triangle here. So when it's finished, you'll have a total of 6 double half hitch knots attached to that cord, creating that diagonal line. So we're now going to repeat that on the other side using this cord here and then creating another diagonal row using these cords in the group. Now on this side, we are also going to use this cord and create another double half hitch knot to bring those two lines together. So that on this line, you'll have a total of 7 double half hitch knots. So the next step is to grab the next cord over from these diagonal double half hitch knots, and we're going to take this one across all the other cords to create another diagonal row of double half hitch knots. And I'm going to attach all these 7 cords to this string here by creating a double half hitch knot with each cord in the group. And so then again on the other side, I'm going to find that next cord over, hold it on a diagonal, and then this time I'm going to attach all 8 of these cords to this string here using a double half hitch knot. So here you have one completed triangle pattern, and I've used a total of 16 cords in this one triangle. So now I just have to repeat this same pattern around the whole circumference of the ring until it's all covered in these same triangle patterns. So here are all the beautiful finished triangles, and we've got this lovely flower looking pattern attached to the ring now. And so now we get to make this look a bit more 3D, and it's very simple to do this. All you really have to do is just grab your triangle shapes and then pull them up towards yourself, and the triangles just sit up quite nicely. Now, the other thing that you can do to bring them together so they sit a bit more firmly in place is to grab the filler cord from each triangle on the right hand side here and just pull that in a little bit, and it actually just makes the triangle pieces a little bit tighter. And then it's really going to sit with that nice 3D shape. Now I'm just going to quickly flatten this back down, and we're going to cut all the ends. So the best way to do this is just grab a tape measure and measure to your desired length around the outside. I would recommend somewhere between 3 to 5 centimeters as the length of your fringe. And then we'll just brush all of these strands out with a comb to make them look really nice and fluffy. So here is the finished flower pattern, which is all brushed out and trimmed. So now what I just need to do to set this fringe in place is grab a bit of hairspray. I'm just going to spray around the outside of the fringe so the fringe stays nice and neat for the finished product. So while the fringe of the mandala is drying, I'm going to move on to the mirror, and what I'm going to do is just cover this wooden bit in some string. That way you can't see the color of the wood from behind the flower. So this is just an optional step that I like to do. You don't have to do this, but I think it just adds an extra finishing touch that makes it look more neat when it's complete. What we're going to do is grab our string, and I also have a hot glue gun heated up and ready to go. So I'm just going to start by creating a circle of hot glue around the outside of this mirror here. And then just grabbing my end of string and popping it right on that glue around the outside of the mirror like so. Pushing it in nice and firm. Now this first bit doesn't have to be too neat because it will be covered up by the mandala. I'm more worried about this outside. So we'll just keep going around and around the wood, sticking the string in place. And so here is the completed circle with the string all attached. So now the only thing left to do is to glue our mandala onto this piece here. Alrighty, so now my mandala has finished drying after I put some hairspray on it. So here it is. And what I'm going to do is stick this onto my mirror by just flipping it over to the back. And then what I'm going to do is take my hot glue gun and just run a ring of hot glue all the way around the ring, right on the part there where the lark's head knot is used to attach the cords to the ring. So you don't want to get your glue too close to the inside of the ring because then you'll be able to see it when you flip it over and stick it on the mirror. I'm just going to aim for this line around here. So just grabbing this piece and grabbing my mirror, flipping it over, and as best I can, just trying to get it in the center. And pressing down nice and firm so the glue sticks in place. And so now that's all nice and secure. And then what I like to do is just shape these little petals so they sit up. And then what I can do is give this one last spray with some hairspray so it sits in place, and also just trim any little edges that don't look as neat as what I'd like them to, and then we can hang this up. So here it is, guys. I have finished my macrame mirror. You can see that the edges I've cleaned up, so they're really nice and neat, and I think it looks like a gorgeous sun. So the other thing that I have done is just drilled a little picture hook to the back at the top here, so it's ready to hang up on the wall. I really hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial, guys, on how to create your own macrame mirror. Now remember that you can use this same technique to turn any macrame mandala into a mirror. So that's any circular styled wall hanging. You just stick a mirror to the back and hang it up on the wall. I do have many other mandala style patterns available online, so make sure you visit my website for more info on those. Thanks for watching, guys, and here's to finding our peace and creativity.